Marcus by Goldman Sachs Review. Here is the honest verdict right up front. It is one of the best high-yield savings accounts you can open, especially if you want a dead simple place to park your emergency fund, but it is not the absolute highest rate you can find, and it has a few quirks that might matter for you. Let me walk through exactly what you get, what you do not get, and whether it actually makes sense for your money. So what even is Marcus? It is the online-only consumer banking arm of Goldman Sachs, one of the biggest and most established investment banks on the planet. They launched Marcus back to compete with the online savings accounts that were already crushing traditional banks on rates. It comes from Marcus Goldman, the guy who founded the firm back in 1869. So this is not some fly-by-night fintech startup. It is Goldman Sachs, the same institution that manages trillions of dollars for institutions and wealthy clients. That matters, because when you hand over your hard-earned cash, you want to know it is safe. Marcus accounts are FDIC insured up to the standard limit, which is $250,000 per depositor. If you have more than that, you can open a joint account and double that protection. And because Marcus is a division of Goldman Sachs, you get the backing of one of the most systemically important banks in the world. But here is the honest truth that nobody likes to talk about. Goldman Sachs was at the center of the financial crisis, facing accusations of misleading investors about mortgage-backed securities. They paid a record $5 billion settlement. So if you are the kind of person who worries about bank stability, it is fair to ask, is Marcus safe? The short answer is yes. Today, Goldman Sachs is far more conservatively run now, with much higher capital requirements and far stricter regulation. But that history is real and it is worth knowing. Now let us get to the numbers that actually matter. The rate on the Marcus online savings account is 3.4% APY. Compare that to the national average for savings accounts, which is about 0.4%. So Marcus is paying roughly 8.5 times what the average bank pays. That is a massive difference. On a $10,000 balance, the average bank earns you about $40 in interest over a year. Marcus earns you about $340. That is real money. And unlike some high-yield accounts that require a minimum balance to earn the top rate, Marcus has no minimum deposit and no minimum balance. You can open an account with $0 and still earn the full 3.4%. But here is where the comparison gets tricky. There are other online savings accounts out there paying 5% or even more. So why would you pick Marcus at 3.4% when you could get 5% elsewhere? That is the single biggest question people ask in the comments, and it deserves a straight answer. First, those 5% rates are often promotional. They might last 3 months or 6 months, then drop to something much lower. Marcus has been consistently competitive for years. They do not play the bait and switch game. Second, Marcus has no fees. No monthly maintenance fee, no excess withdrawal fee, no account closing fee, no fee for paper statements. Many of those higher rate accounts charge fees for things like going below a minimum balance or making too many withdrawals. Marcus keeps it simple. Third, Marcus has a referral bonus program that can boost your rate even higher. If a friend refers you, you both get a 1.0% APY rate boost for 3 months on your online savings account. So for the first 3 months, you are earning 4.4% APY, which is competitive with almost anything out there. And you can refer multiple people, though the bonus only applies to new accounts, not to your existing balance. So if you have a large emergency fund, that 3-month boost on new money can be meaningful. Now let me walk through the features that actually matter for day-to-day use. The app is clean and straightforward. It is not flashy, but it works. You can check your balance, transfer money, view transaction history, and manage your savings buckets. Speaking of buckets, Marcus lets you create up to 10 sub-accounts within your main savings account. So you can label one bucket emergency fund, another vacation, another new car, and so on. Each bucket earns the same interest rate, but you can set separate savings goals and track your progress. That is a genuinely useful feature for people who like to organize their money without opening multiple accounts. Direct deposit is supported, but is not automatic. You need to set it up through your employer or payroll provider. And transfers between Marcus and your external bank account are free, but they are not instant. A standard ACH transfer takes 1 to 3 business days. If you need money fast, that can be a problem. Marcus does offer same-day transfers for an extra fee, but the official site does not mention a specific fee or feature for that, so assume standard ACH timing unless you see otherwise in your account. The point is, do not use Marcus for money you might need within 24 hours. That is what your checking account is for. Now, one of the most common questions I see in the comments is about withdrawal limits. For years, federal regulation delimited savings account withdrawals to 6 per month. That rule was suspended during the pandemic and has not been reinstated. So Marcus, like most banks, no longer enforces a withdrawal limit. You can move money in and out as often as you want. That if you make an excessive number of withdrawals, the bank reserves the right to convert your account to a checking account or close it. In practice, that almost never happens unless you are doing dozens of transactions a day. For normal use, you are fine. Another question that comes up frequently is whether you can get a bank statement for proof of funds. This matters for things like immigration applications, mortgage pre-approvals, or rental applications. Yes, Marcus provides monthly statements that you can download as PDFs from the app or website. They include your name, address, account number, and balance history. That is sufficient for most proof of funds requests. If you need a letter on letterhead, you may need to contact customer service, but the standard statement usually works. Customer service is a mixed bag. Marcus does not have branches, so everything is handled by phone or secure message. Phone support is available 24/7, and in my experience, wait times are reasonable, usually under 5 minutes. The representatives are knowledgeable and helpful. But if you prefer face-to-face service or need to deposit cash, Marcus is not for you. You cannot deposit cash. You cannot deposit checks via mobile deposit. Actually, Marcus does not offer mobile check deposit at all. You can only transfer money electronically from another bank account. That is a real limitation for some people. Now let me address the elephant in the room, the comparison with competitors. Ali Bank offers 3% APY on its savings account, which is slightly lower than Marcus. But Ali has a much more robust feature set, including mobile check deposit, a full checking account with a debit card, and a network of fee-free ATMs. SoFi offers a savings account with a higher rate, but you need to set up direct deposit to get the top rate, and it is more of a full-service checking and savings combo. Capital One 360 is another solid option with a rate around 3.0% to 3.5%, and they have a few physical branches if you need them. So where does Marcus fit? It is best for people who want a simple, no-fuss savings account for their emergency fund or a specific savings goal. You do not need a debit card. You do not need to deposit checks. You just want a place where your money earns a competitive rate with zero fees and zero hassle. Marcus is perfect for that. But if you need a checking account, a debit card, or ATM access, Marcus is not the right choice. It is a savings account only. You will need a separate checking account elsewhere. And if you are chasing the absolute highest rate, Marcus is not the leader. You can find smaller online banks offering 5% or more, but those often come with lower customer service, fewer features, and more hoops to jump through. One feature that Marcus offers that many competitors do not is CDs, or certificates of deposit. Marcus has a few CD options. There is a standard high-yield CD, a no-penalty CD that lets you withdraw your money early without a fee, and a rate bump CD that lets you request a one-time rate increase if rates go up during your term. The no-penalty CD is particularly useful if you think rates might rise and you do not want to lock in for a long term. The rate bump CD is good if you want some flexibility without giving up the higher rate. Now let me address the referral bonus in more detail, because the top videos do not explain it clearly. When you sign up through a referral link, you get a 1.0% APY rate boost for 3 months on your online savings account. That boost applies to the balance you deposit during the first 30 days, up to a certain limit. The person who referred you also gets the same boost on their account for the same period. So if you deposit $10,000, you earn 4.4% APY for 3 months instead of 3.4%. That is an extra $25 in interest over 3 months. Not life-changing, but free money for doing nothing. And there's no limit on how many people you can refer, so you can share your link with friends and family. One thing that is not widely discussed is the account closure policy. Some banks will close your account if it is inactive for a long period, like 6 months or a year. Marcus does not have a publicly stated inactivity policy, but it is always wise to keep a small balance or make a deposit every few months to keep the account active. In practice, if you have money in the account, it is active. The concern is more for accounts with zero balance that sit dormant. Another feature that matters for larger savers is the maximum balance limit. Marcus allows up to $1 million per account and up to $3 million total across all your Marcus accounts. That is plenty for most people. But if you have more than that, you will need to spread it across multiple institutions. Now let me talk about taxes. The interest you earn in a Marcus savings account is taxable as ordinary income. Marcus will send you a Form 1099 INT if you earn more than $10 in interest during the year. You report that on your tax return. There is no way to avoid taxes on interest income unless you hold the money in a tax-advantaged account like an IRA, which Marcus does not offer. So factor that into your net return. So to recap, competitive rate, no fees, easy bucket system, but no checking, no mobile check deposit, no cash deposits, and transfers take days. Great for a simple emergency fund or savings goal, not for daily spending or quick access. If this helped, hit subscribe for more honest reviews.